Everybody, I'm Tony Port from Datahut, and today I'm going to tell you how to fix common web scraper errors and ensure your data pipeline is under. So let's get started. At Datahut, we write a lot of tutorials on web scraping, and some of the questions that we get is about how to fix the scraper that has been blocked by the websites. So first you need to understand why web scrapers are being blocked, and then only you can fix it. So the first reason why web scrapers are being blocked is because of the rate limit. Let's say you visit a website and you send 100 requests, or you use a web scraper to crawl 100 pages in a minute. No human can do this. So the website server can understand, okay, this is coming from a bot, and they can block your IP. So whatever request is coming from your IP, it will be blocked. The second method is the fingerprint detection. Fingerprint is like, for humans, there is a unique fingerprint that identifies a human. Similarly, web scrapers also have a unique fingerprint, and if the website have a smart anti-scrapping technology, they can understand fingerprints that is attached with web scrapers. The next one is CAPTCHA challenges. If the websites suspect you of being a bot, they're not sure, but they suspect, they can throw a CAPTCHA challenge. So unless you solve the CAPTCHA, you won't be able to go through the original content that you want to scrape. The next idea people use is to block geographically. Let's say if the content of a site is relevant for the only US market, and if there is a visit from, say, Bangladesh or India or some other country, those requests will be blocked. And that is called geo-based blocking, or some people will say fencing. So basically it will block you if you don't belong to that country. The next one is a tricky one, honeypot links. A honeypot link is a Mad Max gone wrong, where the web scraper will access a link and it will go into an unending spiral and it will break the web scraper. The next one is JavaScript challenges, where the page actually needs to load some JavaScript assets to get to the full content. And this page is being loaded dynamically. And these are the ways in which companies block your web scrapers. And this is, and based on this information, you can fix your web scrapers. So the first fix is to rotate your IPs. So the most common way to block a web scraper is to just block the IPs from which the request is coming. And one way to fix this is to use a third-party proxy service. And you can use this proxy service to route your request through each proxies, and you can get the data. So the best way to use this IPs is to use the IP as long as it throws the correct data, and swap the IP on when it gets an error response. And you can use session aware sticky IPs if that helps. So the first fix is to rotate your IPs, and it will solve most of your problems. But if it does not, you need to randomize your fingerprints. So like human, web scrapers also have fingerprints in the form of user agent, language, the window size, the operating system, etc. So you actually have to rotate this user agent, language, window size combinations to get the data. And you also have to use automation flags. I mean, the mask automation flag. So let's say if you're using a headless browsers, and there are some flags you use which can be identified by the server as a bot. So you can actually block those or mask those automation flags, and you can get the data. And it's always best to add a bit of a delay. The next thing is to throttle respectfully. It means that you actually have to add some delay between each successive request, like a human do. Unless you need data at huge scales, this is the best practice. It might take some time to get the data, but it will help you get the complete data. The next step is to follow the crawl map. So let's say you have a website to scrape and it will have a sitemap where it lists all the websites. So if you need only the latest URLs, you can just look at the sitemap and compare with the previous data, and you can identify only those fresh pages, and you can just crawl only those fresh pages. That's the best way to do this. Let's assume a website has 1 million pages and only 30,000 new pages are added. Instead of crawling 1 million plus this 30,000, you can only crawl 30,000. That will save you a lot of money and resources and time. The next step is a bit hard, because when a website suspects you of being a bot, it will throw you a CAPTCHA, and some of the CAPTCHAs are really difficult to break, and it's very expensive also. And the best way to deal with this is to not invoke the CAPTCHA at all by using human-like mimicking of web scraping. But if a CAPTCHA is actually thrown at you, you can actually use a CAPTCHA resolving service, but it's expensive. The next step is to mimic real browsers, like use browser automation like Playwright or something like that, and like fetch CSS or JavaScript assets to make it look like a real human. And you actually need to do some scrolling and waiting, so the server feels like you're actually a real human. But one of the caveats of using a real browser is that it's resource intensive, and it will bleed you money, a lot of money. The next step is a very, very important, something that freshers or people forget. You have to log, label, and learn from every request you send out. So you log the request you send, you log the responses you get, and from every response, you know which one works, which one doesn't work, how many IPs are getting, how many requests per IP are you getting from those websites, and you can actually build a determination engine to understand how to allocate the resources to each request. Let's say, for example, you can use this data to understand how many IPs you need. You can anticipate the IP demand. You can even estimate the cost, and you can reduce the time to get data. So it is very, very important. So if you don't have a log and a determination engine, better build one, because it can save you a ton of money and resources. And that's about it. If you are still not able to solve the problem using your coding or your script, give Datahut a try. We can actually help you get data without writing a lot of these codes, and we will give you data the way you need it without you actually having to worry about any technicalities. So contact us using the Datahut website, and we can talk. Thank you. Have a nice day, and we will see again with another piece of content. Thank you.